we go. I did not end up eating another meal in between the last one and now. I just slammed the pre, scoop of hostility and a scoop of bloodshot, doubling up, god damn it. But what was I about to say? Yeah, I fixed the fucking plastic underneath my car, dude. I kind of fucked up the hood cover. I think I ran something over when I was on the highway a couple years ago, and it like dented my oil pan or something. And it was just like fucked. I think that's when it started to get fucked up. And then I hit this fucking big ass raccoon. It put a huge dent in my bumper. I think that totally knocked all sorts of shit out of whack. But when I got home from the gym last night, I fucking just parked it, put the phone flashlight on, started folding stuff in on itself. So no more dragging along. That's the way to do it. So plan now is I've got fucking 500 grams of carbs in the system. Actually, no, a little less. I forget how many. I've got like 4-something 100 grams of carbs pre-workout. I'm not going to really get much benefit out of more than that. That's as much, that's about as much as I would want pre-workout in a bulking context. And by pre-workout, obviously I don't mean right before. I mean, cumulatively before the lift throughout the day. Just so I'm nice and full of carbs, full of energy, ready to throw some shit around. So, plan for back. I've kind of been laying off of bent over barbell rows, just because they're kind of like they're a great movement for back, but they're very taxing. Because not only are you fucking pulling hundreds of pounds of weight in a rowing fashion, right? Obviously, that's what we're trying to do here. It's a back day. But then you've also got to hold yourself up in a supported position. So I'm working my glutes, I'm working my lower back a lot, I'm working my hamstrings. So a hard set will be a lot more taxing on my whole system than, let's say a hard set of just chest supported rows somewhere. Because in a chest supported row, I don't have to fucking flex my hamstrings and my glutes, and I don't have to brace so hard. All I can focus on is the muscle that I'm trying to activate, my fucking back, and then go, pretty much as hard as possible. So, with back, I kind of do an even mix of rows and pull downs. I don't have like a lat focused day and then a trap mid back focused day. But some days I do a little bit more pull downs, lat focused stuff, and other days I do a little bit more rows. I just kind of like to diversify the training, but I don't really have it set in such a way that one lift is lat focused completely, and then the other lift is like trap focused. For me, I've kind of found that, well, I don't know, it's kind of weird with back. Because think about this, when you do chest, sure, I mean, you can do flat, you could do incline, you could do cables, you can do pec deck, all sorts of shit. But every movement is pretty much just working your pecs alone. Your pecs are just, your chest is one big ass fucking muscle, and every movement you're doing is pumping it up. But with back, you got your lats, probably the biggest one that everybody's talking about. Then you got your traps and your rhomboids. Let's just kind of count traps and rhomboids as a similar type deal. I know they do different shit. But it's kind of interesting with back, even though it's a bunch of different muscles all in one spot, it kind of gets counted as just one muscle. So when I do back, or when I do chest or triceps or biceps, arbitrarily I pick 11 sets just because for me that feels like enough per workout. I feel like once I've done 11 sets of a body part hard, I'm fully pumped, I've done as much as I want. Or as much as I feel like is going to, let me stimulate growth or muscle maintenance in a cutting phase. So, whatever. But with biceps, 11 sets of curls. I'm just hitting the bicep. Tries, 11 sets of push downs and whatever else. Just hitting the tricep. But with back, even though it's a couple of different muscle groups, I still kind of count it as 11 sets for the whole back. Even though some of them are more lat focused and some are more trap focused. Which, I mean, it seems to be working, so I'm not going to fucking try to change it now. I'm just kind of thinking of food for thought. But whatever. Me doing it this way, I always get a solid ass back pump, and clearly I've got a fucking big back, so it's working. I definitely am not going to be inclined to do any fucking deadlifts. Same logic with the bent over rows, but even more so, to an even greater extent. Because deadlifts heavy, you're really fucking working your glutes and lower back and hamstrings. And again, the name of the game with bodybuilding training is isolation. I wouldn't want to do a set of bicep curls if, I don't know, what's another better example? Um, oh, there we go. When I'm doing back, I would not want to do a back movement where I'm feeling my biceps and my forearms do a lot of the pulling. That's why when I do back, I fucking wear straps so that I can kind of keep my forearms and biceps out of the equation and only work my lats and my traps and everything else going on back there. So same logic, deadlifts, just do whatever you want. I'm just saying. So I will say this sort of as a piece, as an opinion, as a piece of advice. I think you would probably build a bigger back doing a workout where instead of spending, 3 hard fucking sets worth of energy on deadlifts, doing 3 hard sets of deadlifts, I think it might be easier for you to build a bigger back just by focusing more so on pull downs and lats and traps. But that is not a scientific fact, that's just an opinion. Big ass deadlifters typically do have a big back. So at the end of the day, I mean, all these arguments can be made, but to an extent, they can also be refuted if the guy saying the shit is yoked. So, one more little thing before we get in there. That's your responsibility to kind of be able to figure shit out for yourself. I'm sure there's a percentage of you guys where I tell you not to deadlift, and you're thinking to yourself, man, what the fuck does this guy know? I love deadlifting. And that's good. If deadlifts fucking work for you, you're building a big back, fuck yeah, man, keep doing it. But that's just kind of my opinion. So let's just get in there, get back started, and then post workout, I'm gonna break down the rest of the food that I'm gonna eat tonight. There we go. So lift complete. I was just thinking, a quick little anecdote before we get into the fucking post-workout shake. I was just thinking about how, the gym was fucking empty in here today. And I'm always talking shit. I'm always saying like, oh, you gotta go in even when you don't want to. Let's say you're fucking tired. You're gonna feel better if you do it. It's definitely easy to say in retrospect. Because even me, if I'm it's easy to say that. Because right now I'm fucking, high energy. I slept well, I ate all my food. Fucking, I feel strong, ready for a sick ass pump. And I'm hyped. So I got the perfect conditions for a good lift. But, dude, I've had lifts where fucking, I was considering just not even going in. And it's been like, fuck it. I'm so fucking tired, man. I'll just take a rest day. Blah, 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 blah. That's when you really got to kind of test yourself, And it's so much easier to say, do this shit. Oh, fuck. I got a headlight out. No, so it's easy to say this shit. Right? But it's actually putting it into practice, that's going to fucking test you. And that kind of shit even tests me, man. But if you want it enough, then, you'll sort of feel better after overcoming that fucking mental block or, doing some shit you don't want to do. But the responsible lifter, if that's his shit, if this is your main shit, you're going to organize your whole fucking life around having good lifts on a consistent basis. So for the most part, I don't really even have to challenge myself to go to the gym. It's in my schedule. Honestly, the only times I ever think to myself, geez, I should fucking just take a rest day or something, are if I'm fucking lazy with my sleep. Actually, that's honestly the main one. Or if I'm like actually sick, in which it's probably just more beneficial for me to stay home. But, yeah, whatever. Post-workout shake inbound, but stay hard. David Goggins style. That's when you gotta watch some David Goggins shit. The epitome of fucking going hard. Going hard when you don't feel like it. That's when you watch some Jocko motivation. That's when you go to that's when you go to fucking Machiavelli motivation, and you watch like a Kevin Levrone or a Tom Platz training motivational edit. That shit'll get you hyped up. If you're on the fritz of like actually skipping a lift or some shit, and it's not for a legitimate reason, like, oh, I'm fucking, I'm kind of sick today. I'm not gonna have a, like, if you're just being lazy and you know it, just watch some shit like that. Just, watch some shit that'll hype you up. So, I, I was thinking about trying to just say that kind of stuff, like transition into it smoothly after the shake. But honestly, once I start driving post workout, I always forget what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, I don't know what I was talking about in there. That was not 140 grams of carbs worth of fucking Sprite. It was 117. There we go. So let's look right here. We got the how much food we've eaten so far, including this 100 grams of cluster dextrin and 2 scoops of some hostile chocolate whey. So that's about 50 grams of protein. There's there's fucking I'll count it in the total, but there's a little bit of fat and carbs in the protein powder too, but I forget how much. But post workout, the carbs are really what I'm after. The protein is just because as a lifter you got to get your protein in throughout the day. So let's slam this mofo and get out of here. Yep. Is it weird that if you don't lick the lid, it's gonna fucking drip on you? I get comments that are like, "Why the fuck are you licking the lid?" You're just making a mess if you don't. Come on. All right. So I forget how many calories I'm at. I need to like add all this shit up and post tomorrow. Damn, yeah, I really do need a new fucking headlight. That sucks. But yeah. I'll I'll see what I'm at when I get home and base the post-workout meal on that. Honestly, I'm kind of just going for fucking calories, I wouldn't just fucking, I'm not so crazy that you would just drink some fucking olive oil for calories. That's absurd. But I don't really mind breaking food down into the basic components. Like, the fucking Sprite was just liquid sugar. Typically, I'd want to do like there's the fucking hostile intra, but I like Sprite sometimes. It's I'm just a Sprite fanatic. But usually intra workout I do like an electrolyte drink, but that ramen plus the steak had a solid amount of salt on it, so had a little bit of a treat intra workout instead. But time to fucking go home and eat whatever the fuck I eat. We'll find out in a little bit. But yeah, that back day, dude, I don't know. The freak intensity level was not there. It was pretty intense. Like, I was definitely pushing myself. Like, most of those sets were pretty much approaching as effective as I could make them in terms of like the activation. Honestly, maybe I'm just saying it wasn't that good of a lift because I wasn't swinging so much. Yeah, I think typically I think I make the cable rows harder because instead of just taking my back and like my lats to failure like I was doing in this set, usually I kind of bend forward and like swing the way back and get a bunch of extra, basically force reps at the end. And I think that takes a little bit more wind out of me. So I still have a bit of ego in which I sort of base the intensity of my lifts. Well, not the intensity, but like I base the quality of my lifts based on like not just intensity of the sets, but also, the weight that's associated with them. Which, it's not to say that I don't like going heavy and think that going heavy isn't effective. My basic training philosophy for most muscle groups is do some heavy sets in the beginning when you're fresh and strong, obviously after a proper warm-up so you don't pull your shit, and then once you've basically done some damage, as it were, you get the idea of what I'm saying. 5 sets of those heavy ass pull downs, or however many I did, I don't even remember, plus those rows, my back was pretty much thrashed. So after that, all I wanted to do was really focus on squeeze, burning style movements, like those pullovers, and then the pullover drop set into lat pull down. So, I mean, fucking big ass pump at the end of it. So, another good lift under the belt. But I don't know. I just didn't feel as good as normal. Which honestly, I'd rather have that mentality than to have a bad lift and just say, "Well, I went in there, I did it." To a certain degree, I think I kind of hold myself to the standard at which that's beyond a prerequisite. That's like beyond a prerequisite. Like obviously, I'm gonna go. That's not even a question. And then where I kind of really judge it is based on how it feels, how crazy the lift felt. Like that chest day the last video before this one, I was extremely satisfied with that lift. Even though, I mean, I didn't even do insane weight. I was only benching the 150s on the dumbbells, which, I mean, sure, 150s, that's fucking pretty freaky. But, translate that to the total weight in my fucking hands. Usually I rep out more than 315 for my top sets. So, yeah, I think maybe I'm gradually disassociating from my weight-centered ego. But, I still want to go heavy. Come on. That's not going to change. But it's never really an awesome feeling to hurt yourself or to pull something. Now, typically, you can kind of, I would say I sort of have like a spidey sense for if I'm doing something where I might get hurt. Like some days, if I know everything feels off a little bit, or like let's say I'm benching and 225 is feeling a little weird on my shoulder, and like I do 2 reps of 315 as like the final warm up before I get started with the actual working set, and I rack and I'm okay. That's no. Let's just do something else. Let's go lighter. Let's warm up my shoulders a little more, something like that. And that's definitely going to come with experience. The last thing you want to do is, and this goes for anybody, power lifter, weightlifter, bodybuilder, whatever. If you've kind of got a little bit of a sensation in the back of your mind, you're sort of bubbling up from your gut before you're about to do something where you're really pushing yourself to the limit, especially in terms of weight. You're like, oh, I'm not really sure. Probably in your best interest just to maybe back off. Don't do that shit. Because I sort of preach so when it comes to injuries, I would say that anyone that's training, oh yeah, I fucking hear my mouth. Anybody that's training with pretty fucking serious intensity, like not 100% every lift. I mean, it's just not realistic. But you should want to approach that, right? But anybody who's taking their training very seriously, they're really pushing themselves. For the most part, you're probably going to tweak something eventually, because I've said this reference before. There's sort of a line. There's a line of intensity. Now, when I say intensity, I kind of mean weight. That's really kind of what I mean. Obviously, you're not really going to hurt yourself if you're doing an intense set of, bicep curls with the 30s, and you can still make that an insanely intense set. So I think I really mean weight. Obviously in a bodybuilding context, we're not trying to do 1 rep maxes. You're never going to see me do a 1 rep max. I see comments asking about it. Never going to happen. Just because it doesn't align with my goals, Actually, it contradicts them. I'm probably going to get fucked up. There's just no need. But so back to what I'm saying. In the realm of, pushing yourself to a solid, insane, strong working set of around 8 reps, and this is typically on compound lifts where you're seriously, you got to get hyped up before this. You got to get hyped up before this set of squats or this set of incline bench or incline whatever. There's going to be a limit of weight which you'll be able to do where you're doing as much as you can. Like let's say the line's right here. You want to approach it, push yourself as hard as possible, get a serious stimulus, but don't do so much weight, or don't try to do so much weight, or don't do anything in a unprepared state that would put you over this line, and then you're going to hurt yourself. Because then you got to fucking take a step back, take a break. In the worst fucking scenario, you're getting actually hurt. Like I'd say for the most part, well, I guess worst case scenario is death, but let's assume you don't actually have a fatal injury. Worst case scenario is probably a serious fucking incapacitating tear of something somewhere, and you're fucked. You gotta get an actual surgery, you get the whole deal. It'll put you out forever. You, you do not want to go that far, for sure. And honestly, I mean, you never even want to get to the point where you like have to stop a workout because you tweak something. But you don't want to be too far below that line of intensity either, because you're probably leaving some fucking gains on the table. So use your best judgment, of course. This is just going to come with experience, but you want to get close to riding that line. Or, well, that's kind of how I think about it. Because I don't want to, I don't want to leave anything on the table. When I do sets, I don't like doing, feeder sets where I do like, just like 10 reps and leave a lot in the reserve and just take a break. Or, do my little rest and then do another set of 10, but I know I could have got like 20. Like that style of training, it just doesn't, like, I've done it before and I get a pump, but I just don't really like it. Well, yeah, I still like it, but I don't really love it, you know. And if you like what you're doing in the gym, if you like your training style and it's effective, that's the fucking best case scenario. Because then instead of doing something that you don't like, right, instead of having to balance out, like, oh, I don't really love this style of training, but it is giving me results. So instead of having to balance out this positive and negative, you get to say, oh, dude, this training is sick. I love this fucking shit. And you're getting results. Dude, that is how you fucking do it. Now, I think a lot of beginners kind of don't enjoy the training. Maybe they're not so experienced enough to do what they, like personally. I mean, they just don't fucking know. You're a beginner. You gotta learn this shit. So until you kind of have gained a little bit more experience, I think a lot of people, and even just not mediocre. What am I trying to say? Um, Moderate. Oh, there we go. Even intermediate lifters, I think they get caught in the state of, well, I don't want to go to the gym, but I do like the results it gets me. Well, I don't want to get out of shape, so I better go to the gym. No, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that mentality. But it would be much better if you like doing it and you like the results it got you. And I can't tell you the answer. I can't tell you exactly what that kind of workout routine is going to be for you, because you're your own fucking dude. You've got your own, lore. You've got your own preferences, all sorts of shit. So you'd probably look to me for advice, for sure. Maybe copy some shit that I do, see if you like it. But at the end of the day, I think the best lifters are the ones, well, honestly, the best anybody's are the ones that, manage to figure out what works for them, in any realm of fucking life. Right? Figuring something out is just it gives you such a deeper understanding than doing something because someone told you so. Right? I'm trying to think of an example, but you get the idea, right? If you figure something out for yourself, right, then you've gone through that process of learning it. So instead of just memorizing something or doing something because someone told you so, right, you can kind of actually understand why you're doing it, and then maybe tweak your approach because you can understand how the cause is going to result in the effect. That's not the most specific piece of advice, but you get the idea. Keep an open mind to new information. Try it out for yourself, and be able to say, okay, I like this type of curl. Whoa, I've never seen that style of pec fly before on the cables. Let me try it. Oh, that feels like shit. Not gonna do that. That's so much better than just saying, I saw so-and-so do this, so I do it too. I'm not sure what it does, but he seems pretty smart, so I'll do it as well. You get what I'm saying? So, there was some cohesive thoughts in that card talk. Yeah, fuck yeah. Some of these, some of these I'm just rambling about fucking whatever. So, let's just get back to the house. Fucking, skip to, honestly, this might even be the last meal if I make it kind of a big one. And then I'm ready for bed. Cardio in the morning, and then I got fucking, ooh, I got thermodynamics in the morning. I gotta learn all about that shit. Oh my god. I tell you what, if you know anything about enthalpy, then you can relate to my frustration. But I don't know, I can always figure that shit out. That's not what we're here to talk about. Let's jump to the fucking next meal.